Good afternoon, sir. Welcome, sir. Sir, your voice is not audible.
We can start, madam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Can I start directly, or you are going to moderate it?
Sir?
I can start now?
Yes, sir. We can start now,
okay.
Sir.
Okay. Good afternoon. Now I am going to discuss about very brief introduction to evolutionary computation. In the first session, we discuss about artificial intelligence. What are the different tools available in AI? In that, we have discussed that soft computing is one of the major paradigm in which we have fuzzy logic, neural network, and evolutionary computation or evolutionary algorithm. I am going to touch upon evolutionary computation in detail. Maybe we'll take genetic algorithm, one of the popular evolutionary computation algorithm. We'll discuss in detail analysis of genetic algorithm. My discussion will cover very brief introduction to optimization. What are the existing methods available for solving optimization? What are the challenges in using these kind of optimization methods? What is the need for evolutionary algorithm? Then we will discuss about brief working principle of evolutionary algorithm, then simple genetic algorithm. If time permits, we will discuss a simple hand calculations of genetic algorithm. In general, we are using optimization for various applications. If you are doing research in engineering or any other domain, basically you will be formulating a mathematical problem. You will be minimizing or maximizing a performance index subjected to lot of equality and inequality constraints. In other words, we cannot avoid optimization in any research work. With respect to dictionary, optimization means an act or process or methodology of making something as fully perfect, functional or effective as possible. Therefore, in optimization, we are trying to maximize the benefit coming out of a process or methodology or some product by doing some manipulations in the variables associated with that particular process. Mathematically, f of x is called by the name objective function. It may be a minimization type or maximization type. Some of constraints are normally associated with any optimization function. It may be in the form of equality or inequality. In inequality itself, there are two types. One is bound constraint, other one is geometrical conditions or geometrical constraints. Here, if you see that this is bound constraints, because here we have x should be in between lower and upper bound. Here h of s is equality constraint, g of x is inequality constraints. Not only in our day-to-day, maybe professional career, even in our normal daily applications, we are using optimization. Knowingly, unknowingly, we are solving different problems. Because those kind of problems are very simple, straightforward. Even realizing whether we are optimizing it, we are doing it. Even buying vegetables, buying a car, or buying any object or any product for that matter, we are doing a lot of optimization. Because if you are buying a car, your aim is to minimize the cost. At the same time, for the given cost, we want to get maximum benefit, maximum comfort, maximum size, maximum fuel economy, maximum maybe extra benefits. Therefore, whenever you are going for any purchase, always we are going to see different car manufacturer. Finally, we are going to select a particular product we are going to procure. It involves optimization. Even moving from one place to another place. Suppose I want to go to maybe a remote place from Madurai, maybe to attend some important function immediately. Then the way of communication, way of transport is also, the selection of way of transport is also an optimization problem. Because we are interested in minimizing the cost, I may select a very, very cheapest travel, maybe train or bus or some other thing. If you are interested in maximizing the comfort, maybe I can hire my own car or I can go by flight also. If you are interested in minimizing the time required to travel, then I may use flight. Here the cost is not a criteria. Therefore, any problem, whether you are educated or uneducated, whether you are solving the problem in your engineering academic problem or R&D problem, or the problem in your day-to-day life, we are using optimization. Therefore, optimization we cannot avoid it. What are the tools available to optimize the problems? In general, there are three major categories. One is calculus-based method, another one is enumerative-based method, third one is called random search method. It's a major classification. In calculus-based approach, we have direct, indirect methods based on the method of calculation of derivative. Enumerative method, we have only one method. In random search, we have so many methods. Evolutionary computation, simulated annealing, taboo search, and so on. In evolutionary computation itself, we have other sub-algorithms like genetic algorithm, evolutionary programming, evolutionary strategy, genetic programming, animal search, maybe bee algorithm, like that. We have so many other algorithms. But all these algorithms are having some similarities. That is why they are coming under evolutionary computation or evolutionary category. One of the major advantage of enumerative method, the second method is, we are looking for all possible combinations. For each and every combination, we are looking for the associated objective value. From that, we are able to select one best one that will minimize or maximize your performance. Most of the problem we are solving in our day-to-day life, or we are using enumerative method only, because we have very little combinations. The same enumerative method cannot be used for a complex problem in which we have so many combinations, maybe 10 power 5 or 10 power 6 or 10 power 21. If you have many combinations, the enumerative methods are very, very computationally intensive. That is why we will not recommend enumerative method. The calculus-based method is one of the important methods available as on date. Before the evolution of these kind of genetic algorithms, we have truly relied on calculus-based method. Some of the popular methods are steepest descent methods or steepest ascent method, or Davidson-Fletcher, Powell. We have so many derivative-based methods. In these derivative-based method, derivative information is used for moving from one point to the next point. We'll start with some random initial guess. Maybe we'll discuss that also. We'll start from random initial guess. The next point will be decided by derivative of that particular function at that point. We will move with some random distance in the selected direction. Therefore, the derivative will give you direction of your search. Maybe we will be moving some distance in the derivative direction. At that point, once again, we will use the derivative. Like that, the derivative will guide your search in order to reach the best possible point for the function. This is the search space. Normally, if you have a function f of x with 2 dimensions, let us assume that we have a 2-dimensional problem, x1, x2 are variables. F of x is associated objective function. Let us assume that the function of maximization type. Here we have a lot of peaks and valleys. Each peak corresponding to a local optima or local maximum point. If you are interested in maximization. If you are interested in minimization, then we have to see the local minimum point. Let us assume that I am interested in maximization. There are 4 peaks here. Out of these 4 peaks, one is global, others are local. Therefore, each and every local peak is a peak in that region, local region, that is the highest thing. When you consider the entire search space, we have only one global, that is called global maximum. So in any optimization method, our ultimate aim is to find the maximum reach that is possible. But the problem here is, if you use any derivative method, the derivative is only localized information. Thereby, whenever you use localized information, always there is a possibility of getting the local peak. The derivative method will not guarantee in reaching the global peak. If the initial guess, the initial starting point is accidentally near about the global maximum, then certainly in all probability you will reach the global maximum. Otherwise, we cannot say always we will reach the global maximum. But derivative method will guarantee reaching any one of the global maximum. Therefore, if you use derivative method, always we can get maximum, but getting the global maximum is not guaranteed. Always there will be associated probability. In this case, if I have 4 peaks, then what is the probability of reaching the global maximum? Because there are 4 peaks. If you are running the derivative based approach one time, what is the probability of reaching the global maximum? Any idea? Can you respond in the chat box? Anybody? Let us assume that we have a problem, f of x. Let us assume that we have 4 peaks, that we know that very well. You are randomly starting with the initial guess. You are running a derivative based approach. What is the chance of getting global maximum? Maybe I will give the answer. Maybe you can, because we have 4 peaks, there is we can reach any one of the peaks. Therefore, 1 by 4, 0.25. Therefore, the probability of reaching the global maximum is purely depends on number of peaks you have for a maximization problem. If it is a minimization problem, then number of valleys we have. If the number of peaks are very high, let us assume that I have 100 peaks. Certainly that is possible. If you have a very complex problem, then there may be a chance of getting very high number of global maximum. Very high spikes are available. Then the probability of reaching the global maximum will be very less. If you have more number of global maximum points, automatically the probability of reaching global maximum will be getting reduced. Therefore, there is we can conclude that by using derivative based method, there is no guarantee in reaching the global maximum. Otherwise, we will call it by the name stuck at local optima or premature convergence. In order to use these kind of derivative method, one must know the function very clearly. Then only we can do the derivative of that function. The function as well as constraints. Then only we can use the derivative. That information may be used for guiding the search. Then it is very difficult to handle mixed variables. Because in real world problem, we cannot expect all the variables of same nature. Some variables may be discrete, some variables may be yes or no type 1, 0. some variables may be integer and so on. Therefore, if you have a kind of mixed variable problem, then most of the traditional methods, the traditional method means mostly I'm assuming the conventional derivative based method. These methods will not give a very efficient solution for the real world problem. Therefore, we are looking for some kind of improved methods because the real world is very complex. We cannot expect a very simple search space. Search space may be multimodal. Multimodal means having more peaks, more valleys. If the peak and valleys are very, very unique, only one, that problem is called unimodal problem. If the peak and valleys are multi, then it is called multimodal problem. Most of the real world problems are multimodal, discrete optimization problem having non-smooth search space. Search space cannot be continuous. It cannot have the continuous derivatives. Then some problems may not have the optimization objective function itself. Some problem we may require the optimum value very quickly. Some problems may have many objectives, not one objective. Even buying a car, it's a very, very simple problem because we are using many times in our day-to-day life. Those problems are multi-objective because we want to minimize the cost, we want to maximize the performance, comfort. Therefore, it is a multi-objective type. Therefore, if you want to address these kind of challenges, we are looking for new kind of problems. Therefore, researchers started doing research in 1950s, early 1950s and 60s. They proposed number of new models or new algorithms in order to take up these challenges. Those challenges are mainly addressed by the algorithms with the help of evolutionary knowledge. Those algorithms are nothing but evolutionary computation or evolutionary algorithm. They mainly used Darwinian principles and Mendel's theorem in order to mimic, in order to model in digital computer for problem solving. In 1960s, there were 3 different algorithms proposed in 3 different universities across the globe. One from USA by the name Evolutionary Programming, or popularly called by the name EP, by Lawrence Fogel. Then another one from John Henry Holland. He is actually professor of computer science. He proposed a similar kind of algorithm by the name GA, genetic algorithm. The same period, during 1961-62, one of the undergraduate students who studied in Technical University of Berlin for his bachelor degree project work, he proposed a novel optimization algorithm by the name evolutionary strategy. Therefore, during 1960s, we had 3 different evolutionary algorithms, namely GA, EP, ES. One from Germany and the other 2 from USA. For almost 15 years or 15-20 years, there were much discussion about these kind of algorithms. Locally, it is maybe conveyed a lot of applications only in those universities. These algorithms are not very popular among other universities across the globe. In one of the early 90s conferences held in USA, they meet each other, Fogel, Henry Holland and Riesenberg. Only in that discussion, they found that these algorithms are very similar. The similarities because all these algorithms are developed from Darwinian and Mendel principle. Therefore, they wanted to coin the common name evolutionary algorithm. Therefore, in 1990s, the evolutionary algorithm includes only 3. In fact, evolutionary programming, GA and ES. But later, number of new algorithms have been proposed every year. Genetic programming in 1995 by John Gosa, one of the postdoctoral student of Stanford University. Later, we have recently we have very popular differential evolution. These kind of algorithms are very popular. Therefore, now evolutionary algorithm means it is not only 3 or 4 algorithms, we have so many algorithms, but all these algorithms are generally having the information from Darwinian and mental principle. Popular algorithms proposed by different scientists, Goldberg, John Henry Holland, related to genetic algorithm. Actually, Goldberg is student of PhD student of Henry Holland. Henry Holland is considered to be father of genetic algorithm. He only proposed GA that was popularized by David Goldberg. Then Riesenberg is the original researcher, proposed evolutionary strategy in 1963 in Technical University of Berlin. John Gosa is actually author of genetic programming. Now let us discuss what is evolution algorithm. What are the basic characteristics of evolution algorithm? Once you know this basic characteristic, if you are very able to understand this basic concept, you are able to understand any algorithms in this category. Now, what is evolution algorithm? In evolution algorithm, we are trying to mimic, we are trying to artificially simulate evolution in the digital computer. Evolution means there are two important principles in evolution. One is called survival of fittest, and another one is called genetic inheritance. We wanted to model these two principles in digital computer. By modeling these two principles, we are able to get optimization characteristic, because nature is the best optimization. Because if you see our human body, each and every organ, we have a complex structure. That is, over the period, it was evolved. Now we have a very, very rugged maybe size and functionality. Therefore, we have adopted this idea from the nature. We are creating two important principles. The first one is called competition, or survival of fittest, or nature selection, according to the Charles Darwin. The second property or second principle is genetic inheritance. Let us try to understand what is competition means. The competition means, if we wanted to survive in the world, always we need to fight with each other, because we have only minimum resources, limited resources. In order to get those resources, we have so many individuals competing. Better individuals will get more resources. Less fit individuals will not get resources, or will get less resources, or sometimes they may not get resources. Over the period, automatically, only the highly fit individuals will get food. Therefore, their life will be extended. They will reproduce. They will pass on that information, their character, that fitting character will be passed on to their wards. That is the concept of competition. So naturally it is being carried out, but we wanted to create artificial competition digital computer by using different algorithms. First, we need to understand what do you mean by the competition. In our real world, we have so many competitions. Even if you are applying for some undergraduate admission in Tamil Nadu, lot of competitions. For a good engineering college, maybe let us take CEG campus in Chennai, only 60 seats are available. There were lakhs of applications. The students who are able to satisfy the competitions, they will get the seats. Others will not get the seats. That is a competition. Even the campus recruitment, lot of competitions. Therefore, competition is daily, we are facing that problem daily life. Those who are able to see the competition in lighter effect, that they are able to lead a longer life, whereby they are able to pass on the information to their wards. These individuals will be acting as a seed for generation of the new individuals through recombination generation. The recombination generation is nothing but genetic inheritance. That is the concept of Professor Mental. According to Mental, from one generation to next generation, genetic information is passed on because we have chromosomes. Chromosome consists of genes. Genes are responsible for characters, attributes of an individual. Therefore, during the survival, maybe during your new generation, automatically we are passing on this information. Over the selection, over the period, if you do these operations continuously, we are able to get improved quality in the individuals. Therefore, randomly we are generating the individuals. We are randomly creating the competition among the individuals. From the competition, we are going to select good individuals. For good individuals, we are giving more opportunities in the recombination. Thereby, their child will get more good quality input. Thereby, we are able to retain the good quality characters. Thereby, by running this generation over the period of time, we are able to get very good individuals. The performance of the evolved individuals will be far more better than the individuals selected at start randomly. In order to understand this scheme, we need to understand this very simple block diagram. Whatever I discussed so far, let us try to put in the form of a functional block diagram so that you are able to understand it very clearly. There are three blocks here. One is called population block. Second one is parent block. Third one is offspring block. All these blocks are having some fixed number of individuals. Populations, let us assume that this size will be same. They can accommodate only n number of individuals. N number of individuals. But in the population, we can have only different individuals. We cannot have identical individuals. Each and every individual should have different characteristics. They should not have identical. Duplication is not possible in population. But in parents, duplications are allowed, but same size. If population can hold 50 means, parent can also hold only 50. Offspring means from the parents, we are going to generate offspring or wards. Here also, we are expecting a different characters. Now, at the end of offspring, if you see that we have n number of population, from the n number, we have created n parents based on the survivor of the parent selection. That is nothing but competition or survival of fittest by Charles Darwin. Therefore, from population to parent, we are applying survival of fittest by Charles Darwin. From parent to offspring, we are using genetic inheritance concept of Professor Mendel. Thereby, we have created offspring. Now we have n number of parents and n number of offspring, but population can hold only n, but we have 2n, n parents and n offspring. Therefore, by combining parents and offspring, we are going to have only n individuals in the next generation. Normally, less percentage weightage will be given to parents because already they lived one generation. More chance will be given to ward because just newborn, we are going to give an opportunity for them for one generation. Normally, that is called the generation gap. Therefore, normally the recommended value will be 80%. 80% offspring will be selected, or best 80% ward or children will be selected. They will be placed in the population. The best 20% parents will be selected directly to the population. Thereby, we are able to have next generation individuals for the population. The same steps will be repeated maybe for many times, maybe 100 times or 1,000 times. Thereby, in each and every generation, the quality of the population will be improving. Ideally speaking, if you refer our human evolution, we evolved over a period of billions of years. But we are creating artificial simulation. Thereby, even after 500 or 1,000 generations, we are able to get very good solution for even for the complex problems. Initially, the population will be created randomly. That is called initialization step. But for the next generation onwards, the population generation will be purely based on taking something from the parents, remaining from the offspring. There will be a termination criteria in order to stop the algorithm. Otherwise, it will run indefinitely. This is called parent selection. Parent selection is based on the competition. Survivor selection is based on their quality. Because we are taking 20% parents and 80% offspring with some deterministic thing. The parent selection is purely probabilistic. The reproduction is also probabilistic. We are taking two parents randomly, mixing the bit and pieces of information among the parents. We are going to produce the children. The quality of children will be evaluated. Then there is a fight between parents and the offspring. Higher weightage will be given to offspring, more presentation from the offspring, less presentation from the parents. This is called generation gap. Thereby, even the best, sometimes there is a possibility of missing the good quality parents already generated in the initial generations. Because we cannot guarantee always the best parent will produce best children. Sometimes we will get worst children from the best parents. Therefore, we will miss some of the good quality parents. To avoid that only, we are taking something from the parents directly to the population. That is called elitism or generation gap. If you are able to understand this, I will move on to the next thing. If you have any clarification, we will discuss first. This is a very, very basic methodology. This methodology is applicable to understanding any evolution algorithm. We have 100 plus, 1000 plus evolution algorithm as of now. Every other, they are giving their own name: messy algorithm, refined algorithm, double refined algorithm, steady state algorithm, microgenetic algorithm, differential evolution. In D itself, a lot of variation. Therefore, we have different variants of evolution algorithm, but all these algorithms basically follows the same principles. If you understand this principle, then you can understand any algorithm. Now, we will have some discussion now. Any doubt? Are you able to understand the role of evolution algorithm now? What is the need for evolution algorithm? What is the problem in conventional algorithms? Any justification for that from the participants? Because the conventional methods will give you best solution only for unimodel problem. Unimodel means very simple, having only one peak or value. But most of the real world problems we are encountering in the real world, it may be a smart grid or power system problem, economic dispatch problem, unit commitment problem, maintenance scheduling problem, any problem for that matter. If you take any real world problem, basically it is a multi-dimensional, having many variables, having very, very complex relationship among the variables. Thereby, the search space is very, very, very complex. Therefore, we can say that the derivative-based method will give you only suboptimal solution or inferior solution. That is why we are looking for new kind of methodologies. These methodologies were developed over the period 1950 to 19. Still, it is a very, very fast-growing algorithm. We are getting new papers every year. Algorithms are getting improved over the period. GA was very popular during 1996 and 2000. Now, as of now, D is very popular, differential evolution. When it comes to multi-objective genetic algorithm, previously we had NSGA2. Now we have an algorithm called NSGA3, MOEAD. These algorithms are very popular. Therefore, every year they are improving in order to get a better performance. Okay, we need to know some of the salient issues in these algorithms. Because I said the EC is a very good algorithm, you should not take it very positively. Because just using EC, we cannot get very good solution. One of the major problem in evolutionary computation algorithms, and it's a probabilistic algorithm. Because we are starting with a random population. Randomly, we are taking individuals. Therefore, every time, if you run the algorithm, you will get different answer. Because initial population is different. Therefore, always these kind of algorithms will not give single solution. if you run it differently and maybe in different point of time. Therefore, the performance of these algorithms will be normally given in terms of statistical measures by running maybe many times, 20 times or 30 times. Only the mean or the best or the worst standard deviation. The statistical performance of these algorithms will be compared. Then only we can say that this algorithm is very good and consistent. In order to get, in order to tune your algorithm, we need to get a consistent performance. That means average and maximum are one and the same. That means standard deviation is equal to 0. But it is highly impossible. But we need to minimize that standard deviation so that that algorithm can be recommended for online application. In general, any algorithm can be used for online or offline applications. Offline means most of the design we will be using only one time. Let us take card design, because for card design we are using genetic algorithm. Even Chandrayaan-1 was geometry of the Chandrayaan designed by genetic algorithm. In NASA, most of the satellites they are using GA for optimizing their geometry. The Rolls-Royce car design was done by genetic algorithm. Therefore, most of the real-world problems they are using GA. If it is a design problem, because design problem only one time only we are running GA. Once design is fixed, for the same design we are going to duplicate number of cars. While manufacturing the car, we are not using GA. That is called offline application. If you use GA for online decision making, then we should be very careful, because it starts with the random population. We cannot expect consistent response for online. Whenever you are designing these kind of algorithm for online, you should have a special care. It means we should expect at least a good solution for each and every line. We are not expecting very good solution. But offline, we are expecting very good solution. Therefore, there are two different applications. But generally, these kind of algorithm will be used for only offline, majority. But due to the advent of computational resources, cloud sources, now we are recommending these algorithms for even online applications also. Then we have one more issue in these algorithms, what is called exploration, exploitation. In any evolution algorithm, there are two different phases. One is called the explorative phase, another one is exploitation. Exploration means looking for different regions, sampling unknown regions. It is something like searching in different regions randomly. But at the same time, if you use too much exploration, you will not get convergence. Exploitation means in a very narrow region, if you do very depth search, that is called exploitation or local search. Therefore, if you do local search, then only convergence will happen. But if you restrict your search in a very limited region, you may miss in reaching the global. Therefore, in EC, we have two things. We have to control your algorithm in such a manner that initially we need to do the explorative search. Once the promising regions were identified, then we can do the exploitation. Thereby, we are able to reach the best solution possible for the problem at a very fast rate. Therefore, the controlling of exploration to exploitation is a challenge. Then efficiency of different optimization techniques. We discussed the three different optimization techniques. One is called derivative-based approaches or calculus-based approaches. Then random search-based techniques. Another one is enumerative search. Enumerative search technique will give almost the same performance. For some complicated problem, the computational time will improve. If you use random search with this kind of extra effort, then you will get this kind of robust scheme. If you use genetic algorithm, we are able to get same performance for any complex problem. It may be a combinatorial or any model, multimodal. Any model is a very simple problem. Therefore, all your calculus-based method will give you very good solution only for unimodal type of problem, because we have only one peak or value. If the problem is either combinatorial or multimodal, the same calculus-based method will not give very good performance. However, if you use this kind of easy evolutionary computation method, whose performance is slightly inferior to unimodal problem, but we are getting very good improvement in this kind of combinatorial and multimodal problem. That is why we will not use unimodal type of problems. That means we will not use GA or evolutionary algorithm for solving very simple problem. We will try to use only this kind of algorithm for solving combinatorial or multimodal. Real world is complex, always multimodal or combinatorial. Therefore, GA will be very much useful for solving real world problem. What are the advantages of evolutionary computations? Conceptual simplicity, broad applicability. It can be used for any problem. See, it is evolved from biology, evolution. In order to solve biological problem, once again we are using evolutionary computation. In bioinformatics, for different optimization problem, we are using evolutionary computation. Application is unlimited. We can use these kind of algorithm for solving any kind of challenging problem. But if you use these kind of algorithm for solving simple problems, nobody will appreciate your effort. Higher performance than classical methods on real world problem. You can hybridize with other methods. It is very much suitable for parallel processing to minimize the computational effort related to the optimization. We can use the advantage of cloud, multiple computers. We can distribute the solution to different computers. Thereby, we can minimize the design time. Then no gradient information necessary. Even for adaptively changing circumstances, these kind of algorithm will give you very good performance. Therefore, there is no question of whether this algorithm will be useful to my domain or this problem, that problem. Only thing is, if the problem is challenging, always we can go for evolutionary computation. Definitely, the solution will be far better than the conventional method, the so-called derivative-based method. With that, we'll move on to the genetic algorithm. I will just discuss in detail what is GA, so that we can understand the very minute intricacies of GA. You may ask why GA? Because GA is very popular. If you search Google, if you Google it, GA, you will have millions of articles. Therefore, if you compare other algorithms, maybe evolutionary programming or evolutionary strategy or particles for optimization, differential evolution, the paper related to those algorithms are hardly 10 to 20%. But GA is dominant. That is why I took GA for further discussions. However, all the algorithms are useful. GAs, mainly they started their research in 1960s, but in one of the textbook written by John Henry Holland, Artificial Life, he has explained GA very well. According to his textbook, Artificial Life, GAs are nothing but computer programs that evolve in ways that resemble natural selection, can solve complex problems even the creators do not fully understand, by John Henry Holland. According to the original author of genetic algorithm, John Henry Holland, GAs are nothing but computer programs that evolve in ways resemble natural selection. They are resembling natural selection, can solve complex problems even their creators do not fully understand. Even then, we are getting very good performance, but we don't know how we are getting this performance with a simple program or simple modeling. The genetic algorithm modeling is very, very abstract. We are not modeling exactly the very, very complex phenomena of evolution. It's very difficult to do it. But even the abstract modeling of evolutionary principle, we are getting very high challenging results. These kind of algorithms are population-based global search techniques because we are starting with multiple solutions at the same time, in contrast to single point solution to derivative-based methods. If you refer GA, we have multiple genetic algorithm, but it's very simple genetic algorithm called by the name SGA. Then we have a refined genetic algorithm RGA, real coded genetic algorithm RGA, and so on. Maybe first let us discuss simple genetic algorithm that was proposed by author and that was recommended in the textbook written by David Goldberg. In simple genetic algorithm, they used only binary representation for representing the variables. Because in the morning session, we discussed in most of the AI representation of the problem, representation of the knowledge, and the learning. These three are very important in any AI. Here in genetic algorithm, we have different representations. The very basic representation is binary representation. Then they used very simple competition or selection mechanism to model Darwinian's law and to model the inheritance property, genetic inheritance property. They used simple binary crossover and binary mutation. Therefore, in simple genetic algorithm, the concepts are very, very simple. We'll first discuss that. Maybe if you are able to convince this simple GA, definitely we can read any other article. You can understand very easily. There are 5 important steps in any GA: problem representations, then evaluation of the function or fitness function, then we need to know the selection mechanism, then recombination mechanism, finally stopping criteria. We will discuss one by one. Representation, then we need to discuss quality or evaluation function, then selection mechanism, reproduction mechanism, and stopping criteria. If 5 these things are known, then GA is over. Let us take one by one. In the representation, we have different representations: binary, real, integer, combinations of these. It's called a mixed representation. If you start with binary, then it will be a simple genetic algorithm. Then the evaluation function is a quality function. We will give the problem, the individuals available in any point of time to this evaluation function. The evaluation function will give you a very simple value, unique value that relates the quality of that particular individual. Okay, that relates, maybe it may be a cost or it may be a energy. If it is economic dispatch problem, let us assume that I am using these kind of these kind of tools to solve economic dispatch problem. The evaluation function will give you cost, the total cost associated with randomly selected generation. Therefore, the generation will be randomly initialized with random numbers. For each and every combinations of values of power generated by different generators, the evaluation function will give you a unique value that is called a fitness value or objective function value by using the function available in the problem. Then selection, we are trying to use a mathematical model for selection, or Darwin, Charles Darwin's survival of fittest. We have simple or different methodologies for that. Simple proportionate method or roulette wheel mechanism. Then we have ranking method, Tournament selection, then stochastic universal sampling. In the simple genetic algorithm, they recommended only very simple proportionate selection. In the latest, most of the commercial implementation, they are using tournament selection. But algorithm is very, very simple. We can easily understand the tournament selection also. Then reproduction, we have different crossover methods and different mutation methods. Simple single point crossover, double point, multi-point, and so on. Then mutation also, we have simple binary mutation, other mutations. Then stopping criteria, we have a number of different criteria for that. Number of generation may be one of the conditions for stopping. If after 100 generations are elapsed, we will stop. Otherwise, number of functions evaluation or number of convergence criteria. Based on the convergence of your algorithm, we will be stopping it. The third method is one of the efficient methods. The other 2 methods are blind way of stopping it. Even without knowing whether the algorithm is converged or not, we are simply stopping in the previous 2 methods. But third method, we are currently checking the quality of answer we got it now. Based on that only, we are going to stop it. Now we will discuss what is representation. Representation is we are going to code the problem variables. Because in general, the problem may be a real number, or it may be integer, or it may be a discrete or binary. Whatever may be the original problem variables or nature of the problem variables, in this simple genetic algorithm, we are going to represent using only binary number. Using binary number, we are representing all the problems. The original problem variables are called phenotype. After conversion, it is called genotype. The total number of problems combined together, it is called chromosome. Each and every chromosome will have number of genotype. The genotypes are nothing but combinations of different variables that will characterize that particular problem. In order to find the global optimum, every feasible solution must be represented by the genotype space, because we are converting from real number integer to binary number. In that conversion, we should not use any nonlinear way of doing it. We should not miss some of the problem search in that conversion process. Therefore, we need to use only efficient conversion from one variable to another variable. Normally, for binary conversion, we will be using analog to digital conversion. By using some quantization, number of bits for representation, we will use it. Automatically, we will lose some information. If you wanted to improve the quality of conversion, then we have to use more number of bits. By using more number of bits, we will be minimizing the conversion error. But if you use more number of bits for representation of one variable, automatically the number of bits will be very high. It results in very large search space. Therefore, high precision means long chromosomes. Long chromosome means slow evolution. There will be a compromise. Normally, it is a simple A to D conversion. It is like 8-bit conversion always, or 8 to 12 will be almost optimum. Instead of going for 4-bit conversion, we will be using minimum 8 to 10 bits for representing only the real number. Then the second one is evaluation function. It is a quality function or objective function. Assigns a single value of fitness to each phenotype, which forms the basis for selection. More discrimination, different values, the better. That means you should give a unique value for all the individuals. If you are getting same quality function, then the algorithm will be converted to a single solution. It should not be. We need to have a fitness function in such a manner that there should be a discrimination. Depending upon the individual you are submitting to the function, it will give you a different value. Then only the diversity of the population will be very high. It will have a lot of improvements in the next generation. Some problems may be best posed as a maximization problem or minimization, but conversion is very, very trivial. Generally, we will call minimization type for optimization. If at all you wanted to maximize, we will be simply multiplying a negative signs with the objective so that it will be converted to a maximization type. Here we need to understand that evaluation function is very, very important for any optimization, because based on that only we are going to give the competition. The next one is selection mechanism. The main theme for the selection mechanism is better individuals get higher chance. Here only we are going to have the modeling for survival of fittest, or the concept of evolution by the Charles Darwin is approximated with a very simple mathematical model. We have number of mathematical models, but first let us discuss Rowland-Weil mechanism so that we can understand it. Here, according to this methodology, it assigns a variable probability of individuals acting as a parents depending upon their fitness. Therefore, we are going to assign a variable probability for each and every individual. The probability assignment will be purely depends on the quality. The quality as compared to other other members in the population. If one individual will be far better than others, automatically more probability will be given to that individual compared to others. But this is purely probabilistic. That means high quality solution more likely to become parents than low quality, but not guaranteed. Even worst in current population usually has non-zero probability of becoming a parent. Here, what do you mean by that? there is no guarantee always high quality solution will be in the population, but more chances will be there. But sometimes even at the cost of average, the worst may be selected in the population because of this probabilistic mechanism. This stochastic nature can aid escape from local optima. This stochastic nature is not available in the derivative based tests. That is why we had the problem of premature convergence. Because of the stochastic nature only, we are getting avoided in premature convergence. Let us take a very simple case study. Let us assume that I have 11 individuals in the population. All of you, we have 11 individuals. The quality of individuals are given by the fitness value, associated fitness value. Let us also assume that it is a maximization problem. According to the proportionate selection or Rowlett wheel selection, we have 100%, the wheel area is 100%. We are going to assign the area for each and every individual. We have total 11 individuals. All the 11 individuals, we are going to allocate the area. Okay. The combined area will be 100%. But the area allocation will be purely depends on relative. How much it is better than others. In order to do the relative performance, what I am going to do is, the probability is nothing but individual fitness divided by total fitness. Total, you sum up all the quality, you will get 11. Therefore, the probability of the first individual will be 2 by 11, that is 0.18. Similarly, the second individual's probability for the selection will be 0.16. Like that it goes. For the last individuals, numerator will be 0. Therefore, 0 by 11, it will be 0. Therefore, for the 11th individual, there is no area allocated in the Rowlett wheel. For all other individuals, we are allocating some area. That means the area allocated to the first individual will be 18%, followed by 16%, 15%, 13%, 11, and so on. If you sum up from 1 to 10, you will get 100%. Therefore, this is called Rowlett wheel. In Rowlett wheel, I think this wheel will be used in gambling normally. In gambling, they will be using this rule. We have a area that is not symmetrical. We are allocating area proportional to the quality. Normally, in any Rowlett wheel, there will be a fixed position. There will be a needle. We will just rotate this wheel. Randomly, we will rotate it. After some time, the wheel stops. Okay. At that point of time, that needle will be pointing towards any one of the slot. That slot is the winner. Like that only, we are going to select individuals from the population. Now, if you run this wheel 11 times, each time one individual will be selected that is going to be the parent. Therefore, by using this Rowlett wheel, from the 11 individuals in the population, I am going to generate parent. Each rotation will give you one number or one individual that will be copied. But because the 1 and 2, 3 are having very large area, if you rotate it, there is a high probability of stopping your wheel exactly at 1 second or third. Therefore, compared to the 8, 9, 10, the relative chance of becoming parent in the pool will be higher for the fitness. But however, sometimes the 10th individual can also be selected, even though the area is very, very less. But the probability of selecting 10th will be very, very less. By using this Rowlett wheel, we are able to implement the very simple Charles Darwin's principle, very simply. Are you able to follow me? Are you able to understand this? Any clarification at this point of time? From the participants, are you able to follow me? Okay. Now, once this selection is over, we have a parent. Now, all of you imagine that previous block diagram we discussed. There are 3 blocks. We had one block called by the name population. From the population, by using this Darwin's selection, we have got a parent. Then from the parent, we are going to use genetic inheritance information to generate offspring. Next, we are going to discuss about genetic operators in order to implement genetic inheritance by Mendel. Normally, we are using 2 important operations. One is called crossover. Second one is called mutation. Crossover is a major operator. Mutation is a background operator. Crossover operator will be applied as a very large probability, maybe normally 80 to 90%. Mutation will be normally 1 to 5%. Therefore, we will be discussing first a very simple crossover. The crossover is nothing but taking individuals from the parent, 2 dissimilar individuals, combining bit and pieces of information. We are going to generate 2 new individuals. Those are offspring or children from the parents. Now, I have symbolic representations. Let us assume that this is parent 1. The second one is called parent 2. Therefore, both are parents. The first vector is parent 1. The second vector is parent 2. Next, we have offspring 1 and offspring 2. While generating offspring 1, I am going to decide one point that is called crossover site or cut point or cut site. Crossover point or cut site that will be randomly selected. Let us assume that at this point of time, 3 is selected. In general, this number is 1 to n minus 1. Here we have 7 bits in this representation. Therefore, this crossover site may be 1 to 6. Let us assume that we have 3. The meaning of this one is first 3 bits are selected from the parent 1 for the child 1. The remaining 4 bits are taken from the parent 2, partly from parent 1, remaining from parent 2. Similarly, for the offspring 2, partly from the parent 2, the remaining from parent 1. Therefore, we have combined the genes of both parents to get a different gene structure for offspring. It is perceived like initially we had 2 different elephants. Because of that crossover, there is a possibility of having these kind of elephants that was not originally available in your population. Because of this mixing, we have different combinations of elephant. That's color. Then we have another operation called mutation. It is a very, very less probable operation because it is subjected to only very little parent. Let us assume that I am using simple mutation, binary mutation. After mutation, I am changing one of the genes or one of the bits randomly to 0. Or we are doing the complement operation. Let us assume that I am going to select 1 bit randomly from the selected parent. Let us assume that 4th bit is selected here. The complement of that bit is 0. Maybe for the next generation, next time, we may select the 3rd bit or 4th bit, 5th, 6th, like that. Randomly, we may alter any position. Complement operation normally performed for binary type. Now, if you change this gene, sometimes if this gene is responsible for color, there may be a new color. There is a possibility of this color. Mutation normally happens with low probability for each gene, maximum 5%. Because too much mutation will alter the high quality solutions developed in the crossover. But at the same time, crossover is also mandatory because we are having very less number of population. We cannot have all the combinations of the individuals. Therefore, to generate new individuals that was not originally available, mutation will be sometimes helpful. As I already told, in order to stop the algorithm, we can use different methodologies like number of generations, number of function evaluations, number of either appreciable change in objective function. There is no appreciable change in the objective function or no appreciable change in the problem variables. The third method is one of the efficient method because we are not blindly stopping it. Fourth one is normally it is not useful because we may not be knowing the exact answer. The fifth one can also be used because available computation time. For a very complex problems, real world problem like car design or this kind of aircraft design, we need very large amount of computation time. Normally we will hire a large supercomputer. Therefore, how much time you have used for you have hired the computer, that may be one of the convergence criteria. Therefore, until the time available, you can do this process. Therefore, depending upon the situation, we can have different criteria for stopping your algorithm. Thereby, we can get associated performance. Now we discussed different steps: problem representation, fitness function. Next one is selection. Fourth one is reproduction. Then finally, stopping criteria. By combining these five, we are able to get very good performance. Now, if you have any clarifications at this point of time with respect to the simple description of functional genetic algorithm, I am very happy to discuss with you. Because after that, I am going to discuss simple, maybe some of the hand calculations because I have a board with me. Maybe I can explain with the help of this board how to use these kind of algorithm for very maybe the hand calculation. I can explain to you. Before that, if you have any doubt, I am very happy to. Any clarifications, Rakesh? I have explained genetic algorithm followed by evolutionary computation. Any clarifications? If you are not asking any question, maybe the concept may not be clear to you. But I don't know. Everything is clear. I think you are only responding for all my questions. What about others? Maybe next 15 minutes I want to take it. Whether we can have an open discussion on evolutionary computation or I can explain with the help of hand calculation how we can proceed. Maybe if you have your own problems, maybe some of you started doing research work in evolutionary computation or maybe in your earlier PhD work. If you have a specific doubt or some clarification, I'm very happy to answer your queries. Otherwise, I can explain how GA can be applied for a simple problem with the help of hand calculation. Which one is suitable to you? I'm very open for both of methods. Oh, how many of you already applied GA for your own problem? Maybe you can say yes or no. How many of you already applied GA? I'm familiar, I'm not familiar, so that I can take a call from your response. Can we discuss how GA algorithm is working with the hand calculation? Okay, I will take that method so that I think it will be useful to you. Even some of you find it I'm using block for my whiteboard for that purpose. Let us assume my function is f of x is equal to x squared of maximization type. I want to maximize. I want to maximize this function. The x value can take between 0 to 31. Also, only integer. Let us assume only integer. Now, you are asked to do genetic algorithm only one generation. That means we have to initialize the population. We have to find the quality of each and every individual evaluation function or fitness function. Then third step is we need to do the competition or selection method. Then fourth one is crossover mutation. Then finally, we need to compare whether it has given some improvement or not. First, we need to fix the number of bits required for representing the variable x. Because maximum it can take 0 to 31 by using 5-bit number. 5-bit number, I am able to represent 0 to 31. Because if it is all are 0, then if it represents 0. If all are 1, if all the values are 1, then it represents 31. All are ones. Therefore, in between 0 to, we have only integers. Therefore, 5-bit number is necessary to represent 0 to 31. Once this 5-bit is fixed, I am going to do the initial population. Initially, I am going to do the population. Let us assume that number of population is given as 6. You are asked to do the 6 individuals. Let us assume that you are asked to do the 6 individuals. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let us assume a 5-bit number, 6 5-bit numbers randomly without any bias. Randomly, you use some number, 5-bit number. Only thing is the number of ones and zeros should be some. We should not use more ones, and we have to have almost equal number of ones and zeros in each rows and columns. Like that, you can use a different thing. You have to avoid same number here. I have used this. Therefore, we are able to get almost equal number of zeros and ones. But normally, we will not use manually. I am just without bias, I have assumed it randomly, but we'll use computer for this purpose. Therefore, initial population is randomly initialized. Now we need to find the corresponding x value. Here, the x value will be calculated based on the decoded value, because the highest position is 16, followed by, this is actually having 16th weightage. The highest bit is 16, followed by 8, then 4, 2, 1. Therefore, for the first one we have 20, second one is 8, 11, third one is 16, 20, 22, fourth one is 6, Fifth one is 16, 20, 21. Then finally we have 24, 26. Therefore, initially we have generated, then we have found the corresponding x. This is actually fitness x value. We have to find f of x. There is nothing but x squared. Therefore, 20 squared, 11 squared. Simply you calculate the corresponding fitness value, 36, 21 squared, then 26 squared. Now, we have to apply the selection method. Selection method is normally based on proportionate. That means we need to find the probability. To find the probability, first we need to find the sum value. Find the fitness of all the numbers. You will get some value. Now, for the individual probability, we need to find the fitness of that individual divided by the total thing. Therefore, you have to find the summation followed by individual. That means for the first one, if you want to find the probability of the first individual P1 will be 20 squared divided by the sum squared, sum. Similarly, the second individual's probability will be 11 squared divided by sum. Sum is same for all. Therefore, it's very clear that 1, 3, 5, 6 will have at least one copy. You will get it out of 6, because in the parent also, the parent pool also, we can have only 6 individuals. Therefore, we can have at least from the first one will have its representation. Third will have without any problem. Then 5, 6 also they will have their copies because they are having very high quality. The problem only with the second and fourth one, that slot will be taken by any of the 4, any of the 6. Let us assume that 26 is taken 2 times. The 6th one is taken 2 times. Therefore, I am putting 6 2 times and 1 2 times. It is purely random because we are running the roulette wheel 6 times. Each time, different individual may be selected. Here, after selection, the difference between the population selection is in the population all are having different characteristics. But here, if you see that 1 is having 2 copies, 6 is also having 2 copies. There were no representation for 4th individual. There is no 4. That is eliminated from the population parent pool. Therefore, that individual is extinct. Only these will represent in the future generations. Next, we will do the crossover and mutation. One of the thing is we need to combine 1 and 3 because we cannot do the crossover between 1 and 1 because we should have a different characteristics. Therefore, 1 3 may be crossovered, 1 6 may be 1 6 may be crossovered, and 5 and 6 may be crossovered. I will explain only one crossover. Let us take 1 and 3. 1 is actually 1 0 1 0 0 and the next individual is 3. Let us assume that the 3 is 1 0 1 1 0. Now let us assume that the crossover site is say 3. Randomly I selected crossover site. Now what will happen is for the child 1.
Excuse me, sir. Sir,
Yes.
your presentation is not visible, sir.
I'm not getting you, madam.
Sir, your presentation is not visible, sir.
Not working, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please
Oh,
present
sorry.
right there, sir. Huh.
What? I don't know. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
But board is not visible now, sir.
board not visible.
Yes, sir.
What is visible now?
It's entire black.
Oh,
No, sir. No, sir. Only your face is visible.
actually, I'm using one board. Actually, I'm writing using my sketch. Actually, is it visible or not?
Sir. No, sir.
No. Okay.
No, sir.
I don't know what is the problem. Anyway.
So, okay, sir.
Okay, maybe I will share some of the sources to you. Maybe PDF to hand. I have some PDF files. Maybe I can share those files to the coordinator. Maybe you can share with the participants.
Sure, sir.
Those PDF files are simply a hand calculation for solving some of the GA simple problems. Thereby, we can understand. You can understand some of the minute details of GA. Thereby, we can get very high confidence in solving these kind of problems. Maybe
Sure,
I think now the time is 3:15. If you have any specific clarification, I'm very happy to answer your queries.
Participants, if you have any query, then you can unmute your mic and ask, or you can put it in the chat box.
Either way is okay for me. Either chart or you can ask your specific question or doubt related to this kind of maybe GA, whatever we discussed today, or it may be related to whether you are maybe doing your own PhD research work. There you may be having some challenge. If possible, I can, because I started working in evolutionary computation from 1997. For the last 25 years, I'm working in this area.
Hello, sir.
Yes, yes.
Am I audible, sir? Actually, is it? Do you have any material or PDF where we can get some evolutionary algorithm for solving some power system solution? Simple solution, that is also okay.
No. For what kind of you want to get some resources?
Yes, sir. Just like a for just like a some PDF
Maybe
or
only
anything.
for general genetic algorithm or application to power system.
Yes, sir. Application to power system.
Maybe we have very general resources are available. Maybe
Okay,
if you want to get any resources, maybe you can mail to me. I will share some of the documents to you. Maybe you can say, you can give a mail to me. My mail ID is SP. Definitely, I can respond to your question. Maybe I can help you.
Okay,
We have
sir.
a lot of information.
Thank you,
This
sir.
is my mail ID. If you have any clarifications, I'm very happy to help you in this aspect.
Thank you, sir.
So any other
Any
doubt?
other clarifications?
Sir, one participant already asked this question, sir. Sir, how to match the meta-heuristic population-based algorithm parameters to real-world problem? Sir,
I'm not meta-heuristic.
Sir, I'll put it again in the chat box.
Chat box lerka.
Yes, sir.
Oh, how to match the meta-heuristic population-based algorithm parameter to real-world problem? Question is not very clear to me, madam.
Sir, one participant asked this question, sir.
The participant can directly ask the question because the question is not very clear to me.
Shanti. I think she's
actually, what is your question, madam? You can unmute your mic and you can ask straight away.
Yes, sir, she's
maybe I understood your question to some extent. Actually, in population-based approach, there are parameters associated. There are some control parameters like population size, probability of crossover, probability of mutation, and other parameters related. For all those parameters, there are some general recommendations. By following that recommendation, we can definitely get very good performance. For example, if you are using GA, the general recommendation is the population size should be approximately 6 times the number of variables. That is one of the thumb rule. Like if you have a problem with the 6 variables, generally we should have minimum 36 size. Maybe we can select either 40 or 50. Thereby we can get good optimum performance. Similarly, the probability of crossover should be 80 to 90%. Maybe we can have 0.8 or 0.85 or 0.9. Thereby we can get that performance. Mutation may be 1 to 2%. With that we can get good performance. I think in each and every algorithm like that we have some standard recommendation. If you take differential evolution or any other algorithm, in that algorithm also some recommendation given by some of the authors. But we can take that as a cue for fixing that. This is the thing you are asking? Sandini? Or your question is something different? I don't know. Normally, GA can be used for any optimization. However, for online application, we need to avoid. Because in the home energy management system, we need to do some scheduling. Okay, that can be done with the help of machine learning algorithm. Maybe your AI, any support vector machine or neural network based solution will be much more beneficial compared to GA. BA is very, the tool can be used only for challenging problem. For this kind of very small problem, GA is not necessary, because sometimes GA will give you worst solution also. That is why for online, we need to avoid it. Don't go for GA for online application. Only design some offline decision making, we can recommend it. Here we have so many software computing tools for some of the problems, some of the applications. All the tools may be appropriate, but among the 3 or 4 tools available, we need to check which one is very efficient, in the sense that based on the computation time, generalization accuracy, and learning features. Based on that only, we'll select either neural network or fuzzy logic. For some of the application, both will be highly competitive. Then we will go for implementation issues. Which one will be very less in implementing cost implementing in hardware? Normally they will select one. Otherwise, we can go for the hybrid of NeuroFuzzy, because we have NeuroFuzzy chips are also available now. Like a microcontroller, we have a microcontroller with neural network or fuzzy logic architecture. By just loading your program in that hardware, you can implement either neural network or fuzzy logic or combinations of these two also. Therefore, nowadays, even for very small IoT applications, just by using a general purpose microcontroller chip with NeuroFuzzy features, we are able to have AI. We can develop very simple AI applications. Maybe in next 5 years, we can see a lot of new products with the help of AI, even very, very simple products. We have smartwatch, so many smart. In all those smarts, we have inbuilt some AI feature. smart TV, smart watch, everything is smart now. Smart sensor, smart grid. Whenever they use the smart, automatically it's IoT with some AI. I think G. Saravanan, if you raised your hand, if you have any question, maybe you can post. G. Saravanan, can you type your question? Madam, some of you, can you type? Because audio is not clear here. Janambal, madam?
Sir?
Any, he has asked some question. Saravanan, somebody has raised his hand.
No, he didn't post anything in the chat box.
Okay.
So, any other question? If there is no question,
maybe we can stop.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for the nice opportunity given to me. I take this opportunity to thank organizers and participants for attending this program patiently from the morning session as well as afternoon session. Thank you very much for your support.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. On behalf of our Kalan College of Engineering and on behalf of all the participants, I wholeheartedly thank our resource person. And I'm proud to say that I am the student of sir. Thank you, sir. And we have, besides your busy schedule, you have spent the whole day for us, sir. So we are highly enlightened by your words, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Participants, thank you for your patient listening. So next session, we will start at 3:35. Please join. So we are all highly stressed because of teaching load, research load, and so many activities we are involving as faculty and as research scholars. So to relieve from our stress, we are having a special session on stress management. So please join exactly at 3:35. So we will have the next session on health is your birthright, know your health scope and root cause of all diseases. Shall we continue or shall we have a break for 10 minutes?
10 minutes break, ma'am. We need break.
Okay. So
thank you,
take a break now and we will rejoin at 3:45.
What's the time, ma'am?
3:35 or 3:40?
Right, okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
3:40, please rejoin quickly so that we will wind up the session at the earliest. Thank you all. Please take a break and rejoin at 3:40.